Hey, Cavs fans, welcome to another episode of the Cavs Pick and Roll Podcast, the podcast for diehard Cavs fans. Corey here with you, as always, along with Alex. How are you, bud? It's been a little while.
Hey, yeah, it's been quite a long time, man. I was I had a bad cold, still kind of recovering from it, and then I was
Yeah.
on the road. I was in Pittsburgh for a week, so it's good to be back, and we can talk some Cavs basketball.
Heck yeah, man. A lot has happened, and the biggest thing I would say that happened since the last episode is for the first time, Alex, since 2018, the Cavs are going back to the NBA playoffs.
Yeah, man, back to the dance. It's gonna be fun. I can't wait. A coworker, my coworker Dennis, man, he asked me, he's like, so who would you want, who do you not want the Cavs to play in the playoffs? Like, is there a team that you absolutely don't want them to play? And I was like, man, I'm not afraid to play anybody right now. This Cavs team is awesome. Like, I don't expect them to win the whole thing, but at the same time, I'm not afraid to match up with any team for 7 games. Like, man,
Anything's possible, man.
yeah, anything's possible. This team's young. They're playing great. They're a really good defensive team, and defense wins championships. And
Yep.
yeah, this team could go far. I got to keep the expectations down. It's their first year, having everybody together, having Donovan Mitchell in the flow. So if they get, I'll be super pumped if they get through the first round. But they have the potential to go.
Yeah, this is why you made the trade that you made last summer. The blockbuster trade that brought in Donovan Mitchell is for this time of the year. It's winning time, and we've all seen what Donovan is capable this year. He's explosive. He can go off, drop 40 points like it's nothing. I saw a stat the other day. The most 40-point games in Cavs history, LeBron has it at 10. Mitchell has already matched that.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. Think about that. LeBron, all the years he was here, only had 10 40-plus point games in his entire run here. And
I thought
Mitchell,
it was in one season, wasn't it?
Was it one season? Maybe it was one season. Yeah,
I
I'm
think
sorry.
Kyrie
it was one
had
season.
11, and Donovan Mitchell matched him at 11. Wasn't that it?
Mitchell's going to beat it, is what I'm trying to get at, though.
Yeah.
In his first season, he's going to have a 40-point, performance somewhere here in this playoff run. But yeah, man, it's exciting. And I had to the last time we were in the playoffs was 2008, the 2018 finals when we were running with LeBron and Jeff Green. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Green was Kevin Love was still there, but Green
Uncle
and Love
Jeff.
and LeBron, that was your big three, man, in that finals run. And it's a big deal. And it's also a big deal because this is the first playoff run that the Cavs are going to have without LeBron James since 1998. 1998, I remember this still to this day. First round playoffs against the Indiana Pacers. Reggie Miller, Mark Jackson, Rick Smits, good team. Jalen Rose might have been there. We had Sean Kemp, Big Z, Wesley Person. We only won one game out of that series, and we had the young guys, Brevin Knight, Derek Anderson, those guys. But I still remember that series, and that's the last time this team has been to the NBA playoffs without LeBron. 1990.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
It is crazy. It's cool. It's great to be back.
Yeah.
Something fun, exciting to talk about.
And for us, it's new territories. It's new territory for us because, to be honest, we're the jackasses that started a podcast after LeBron left.
Yeah, after he left.
This is new territory for us, man. We're not used to going this deep into the year. We're usually talking about, who we want to draft. And last year we had our hearts broken with the 2 playing games and didn't get in. And so this is new territory for us. So I'm excited, man.
We're gonna have to up our game, Corey. I mean, just like the Cavs. I mean,
I don't care if you're sick, Alex.
We got to push it
get
into
out a
another
drink.
Beer.
You take some shots and we suck it up.
You don't want that. You don't want that.
Yeah, man. So, exciting news. The Cavs, man, back in the playoffs. And I think I saw tonight, Alex, our magic number to secure that 4 seed was 2, right? Either 2 wins by the Cavs or 2 losses by the Knicks. And the Cavs will lock up that 4 seed. There was a small window of hope there for a second where we thought, maybe we can creep into the 3 seed, but the 76ers said no. And I think it's going to be, Cavs 4 seed and Knicks are going to be in that 5th seed, and that's going to be your first round matchup.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the 3rd seed would have been great, but hey, 4th seed, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and I'll say this. So we'll get into it here, but a lot of people were saying, well, you want the 3rd seed so that you play the Nets instead of the Knicks,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
The,
Well,
the
that and
Nets,
the next round,
the
we
next
wouldn't
round,
have to play the Bucks either. So
right? The next round, the second round is going to be scary, just to be honest, no matter what. But again, this team has proven they can hang with anybody. It's just, can they do it consistently, and can they do it on the road? They've beaten the Bucks, they've beaten the Celtics this year, they've beaten the better teams in the league, and more importantly in the East, right? So they're capable of doing it, but in a 7-game series, what are they going to do? And that's where this is just new territory for this whole team, right? Donovan Mitchell's been in the playoffs since he's been, in the NBA, but he hasn't been in the playoffs in the East and with this team. Garland, Allen, Mobley, Okoro, all those guys. This is their first. Levert, this is all their first time, being in the playoffs. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this team reacts to that. And I think our expectations should be kept, realistic as a result of that as well.
yeah, totally agree. But at the same time, that's exactly why I'm not afraid of playing any team 7 games in the playoffs. Like this team, they can do it, man.
Oh, they can run with
And this
anybody.
is, I mean, yeah, like you said, it's new territory for all of them. So we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, and one thing, obviously, yeah, I'd rather play the Nets instead of the Knicks. You want to see them make it out of that first round, obviously, and having what sounds like an easier opponent is always what you, from a fan, hope for. But I would say, you know what? I think the Knicks will prepare them a little bit better for that second round, because I'd be surprised if I think it's going to be a pretty good series. The Knicks are a solid team now, and I don't think it's going to be a 4-0 sweep. It might go 5-6, it might even go 7 games. Who knows? But let the Cavs get some blows their way. If they would have just swept through the Nets like it was nothing, and then you got the Bucks to set, like, what did the Nets prepare them for? For the Bucks, nothing. The Knicks, I think, are going to better prepare the Cavs for that second round against whoever they're going to match up against, because it's going to be the Knicks are going to be a tougher opponent. So I say that, now you got to beat them though. If the Knicks somehow beat you, then that's going to be pretty devastating. Home court advantage. You brought in Donovan Mitchell and you can't even get out of the first round. That would be a major blow. So that absolutely cannot happen. But Donovan Mitchell even said himself, he wants to play the Knicks in the first round.
Interesting take. Hey, I'm with Donovan Mitchell. Let's do it, man. Let's roll New York for sure.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to roll New York. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, especially after this last game.
Well,
we just played against them.
So a lot of people freaking out, right? You were just saying that before we started recording. People are
I couldn't believe the comments I was reading, Corey, about
what were they saying? Give me some
people freaking out. Like,
give me some good ones.
Just having a meltdown. Like, I should pull the Reddit thread up, man. People just having a meltdown, saying we should have beat New York. This was a must-win game. This is exactly what's going to happen in the playoffs. We lost to a Randall-less Knicks team. They didn't even have their star, and we lost. And it's like, who are these people, man? These ain't Cavs fans, man. We were without Okoro and Allen, like our two defensive guys. We're a defensive team. Like, I mean, Brunson isn't going to score 40 anything on Okoro, and they're not going to get nearly as many rebounds as they were picking off of us with Allen out there. We had Mobley playing at the center against Hartenstein. I mean, he wouldn't have a chance against Allen. He might have. You got to say the name.
You got to say the name. You got to say the name right. And what I'm looking forward to the most, Alex, with this New York series, for the week or two that it lasts, I get to hear you say that
Hartenstein
a little bit more than often, right? But yeah, I get it, man. I mean, obviously, oh man, obviously this is a game I wanted to see them win, right? It's New York. You're going to play them in the playoffs most likely. It's like, yeah, go show them they got no business messing with us. And unfortunately, the Cavs weren't able to do that. at home in Cleveland, right? They let Brunson go off for 48, a new career high. That pisses me off. Brunson, it's interesting. I've never really watched a ton of Brunson, and he doesn't look like much, but I mean, he could do some things out there. And I agree, throwing a Kuro at him, if he gets by a Kuro and Allen being down there waiting for him, that might change things up a little bit. But New York, they're a solid team. They're going to be a tough opponent. And Randall, when he comes back, I mean, he can play. I still remember the one New York game where he made 8 or 9 threes against us, and I was going off on this podcast. So it's gonna be a good series, and I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm just looking forward to Cavs basketball past the first week of April. It's been too long. It's been too long.
It really struck me also was just the atmosphere of the game. It was like it was a playoff game. The Cleveland crowd, like I haven't seen them this energized in a long time. So that was really exciting. And Donovan Mitchell kind of talked about that in post game. One of his post game interviews was just how electric the building was for these last few games that the Cavs have played at home. So it's exciting, and I mean,
Yeah.
I could definitely notice it just watching the games on TV, just how much the fans are into this, supporting the team. And he was saying, you gotta be loud for us in the playoffs. So yeah, man, I'm
and
hoping to
it's
get tickets. Man, it's gonna be fun.
yeah. It's hard to imagine how much more he'd be able to elevate his game, but you just know that Mitchell's going to turn it up another notch. Like I I don't want this to turn into hero ball, but I also don't see Mitchell just allowing the Cavs not to somehow win that series. You know what I mean? So, again, I think it's going to be great. Yeah, the fan base is excited. It's the first time being here in quite a while now. I mean, 2018 to 2023, it's man, that's I had to do a double take. Like, man, it's been that long. You know what I mean? So it's just good to be back, and the fan base has always been good, especially this time of year, coming out and supporting the team. So it'll be fun to watch for sure. We got to figure out what that playoff schedule is. I don't know if that's been released. If it hasn't been, I'm sure it'll come out here in the next week or so.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't seen anything yet about it.
Yeah. Yeah. You were talking about Allen too being out in that New York game. He missed a couple games. And we've talked about him several times, right? He's the heart and soul of this team. And you're the number one defensive team, for a reason. And Allen's a big part of that. So not having him there really hurt. Luckily, he's back tonight. The Indiana Pacers and Cavs are dueling it out right now as we speak. About 3 minutes left in the third quarter. So that game's going on right now. And Allen is back in this game. So it's nice to have him back and make that impact, right? But we're still waiting for a Kuro to come back. He's another big part of your defensive, side of things. And he's going to be the guy that's going to be running around the Brunsons in the first round of the playoffs and as we progress.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't seen any timelines on him, Alex, but hopefully he's going to get back here. Be nice to see him get a game in or two before the end of the year and be ready to go for the playoffs.
Yeah, and it's not just that we were missing Jared Allen. That forced us to play small ball. And playing small ball against the Knicks just isn't going to fly when they've got Obi Toppin, they've got Robinson, they've got Hartenstein. So they've got three great big men when we only had Mobley and we were playing small ball, right? So we plugged in Lamar Stevens at power forward. So
right.
And we even gave Rolo some minutes in there. And that's never a good thing, right? I mean, we can plug in Dean Wade, who hasn't really been in the rotation for quite some time. He was out with an injury for a long time. And so giving against New York, giving Dean Wade minutes, giving Lamar Stevens minutes at that power forward, that's tough when you're playing the Knicks and they got those three great big men there.
Yeah, and those three big men for New York, they're all, none of them are really superstars, right? I mean, Randall's the best of the bunch, obviously, and he can play, don't get me wrong, but all of their bigs are mobile bigs. It's not a Rolo, right? Like Rolo's a good guy and all that, but he's he's older now. You know what I mean? So he's a step slower. And Hartenstein's still a young guy. He's mobile. Robinson, I've always liked Robinson's game. He's just athletic as hell. Big body, true 7-footer. And then Toppin, I didn't see a ton of him that game. I don't recall seeing a ton of him. I don't think he gets, the most minutes. They probably go to Robinson and Randall and stuff, but just another young guy that can come off the bench and get some electric plays going because he's so young and has those hops. So the Cavs got to be ready to match that, that kind of big rotation. And, really it's Allen and Mobley, but then you're pretty small after that, right? Unless the Cavs are going to give Lopez minutes in that series, you are going with the Dean Wades and the Lamar Stevens, from a bench backup big perspective. Right. So that's where I do wish they would have got a big. We talked about that when a couple episodes back when they signed Sam Merrill. That's where I kind of wish they would have got another kind of just young athletic big just to run around out there. And but they didn't go that route, and we got what we got. And I think there's still enough to win that series. It's just there's going to be some interesting matchups. I think it's the Knicks match up pretty well with the Cavs, to be honest with you.
They do. At least a positive from that game, I'd say, is that we didn't let their bench hurt us too much. Like, nobody on their bench really went off on us. It's not like we let Hart drop 20 on us or quickly drop 30 on us or anything like that.
Quickly and Hart played nice. I mean, quickly had 14, well. And Hart had 11. Quentin Grimes, he had 14. Toppin actually had 12 off the bench. Wow. So I don't know. Nobody went off for 30, but they had well balanced scoring off their bench to where the Cavs didn't have that. Osman gave you 14, Wade gave you 5, but then nobody else gave you anything. LeVert had 15. I'm sorry, but it just wasn't enough to match up. And then just again, Brunson was just too much. 48 points. Mitchell was going toe-to-toe with him. He finished with 42. It was fun to watch, but at the end of the day, you just needed somebody that was going to be able to stop Brunson a little bit. And the Cavs just didn't have anybody. They threw different bodies at him, and credit to him, he was able to make some crazy shots. There was several times where I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, Neto played him pretty tough defensively, but by then it was too late. Like, they plugged Neto in, towards the end of the game, and Neto was all over Brunson, but game was a little out of hand.
Yeah, I did like that. I wish they would have tried that a little bit earlier because Neto is pretty scrappy. He's like a gnat that won't go away. He's kind of like what Delly used to be back in the day, right? Just gets under your skin and stuff like that. And like you said, it was too late at that point, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. I would have liked to seen him throw Diakite in there, at least give him a few minutes while their big men were shredding us anyway. What's it hurt? At least get him. We do have a mobile big man that's on the bench, even though he's not in the rotation or not getting a whole lot of minutes. Like, throw him out there. This game is it's not meaning a whole lot in the grand scheme, even though people are freaking out about it.
Yeah. And again, I get it. It's just any fan base is probably like this, especially at this time of year. And I get it. That really would have put the nail in the coffin against the Knicks, even having a chance to move up ahead of us in the 4 seed. When I looked at the standings this morning, they were 3 games behind us still. I don't know if the Knicks played today or not. I think they might have. If they win that and we lose this game, now they're only 2 games behind. There's 3 games left. You play the Magic and back to back, and you play the Hornets. It's not the greatest of teams, but I do believe we've lost to the Magic this year. They've kind of been just that kind of team at the bottom that gives us a hard time. So yeah, you want to take care of business tonight against the Pacers. This is a close game, still third quarter going on. So I don't know. There's some official review right now, but you got to take care of business tonight against the Pacers. Keep that 3-game gap. Go win that first game in Orlando. You got that locked up in the last 2 games. You can do whatever then at that point. Don't make it come down to that last game, or something crazy, or where the fate is out of your hands and you're relying on, the Knicks to lose or something like that. You can't allow that to happen.
Right. Yeah.
Did you find that Reddit thread or no?
Home court. No, I wasn't looking for it. Man, locking up that home court advantage. That's key because this team is lights out at home and struggles on the road, like we've been talking about all season. Yeah. So, that would just be a huge benefit.
Yeah, for sure. Do you see Do you see, so as we go into the playoffs, we talked about this an episode or two back where it felt like JB's rotation was pretty short. Like, who do you think's going to be like the odd man out? The guy that probably is right there on the fringe, but probably won't get that time. Or what do you think? What do you think JB might do with his rotation in this first round, at least against the Knicks?
That's tough, man. I think he'll limit it down, obviously, to 8, possibly 9 guys.
Usually the way it works, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say if everybody's healthy, I mean, Osman, Rubio. Who else? Who else from the bench?
Levert. That's your. Is that? I mean, that's so.
Yeah, that's
Rubio,
true.
Osman, Levert would be your 3
Right.
off the bench that feel kind of like a lock to me. Although Chetty hasn't been a lock all year.
Mhm.
It kind of just, that's the thing. That's what I'm interested to see, because between Chetty, Wade, and Stevens, none of them have been a lock all year. They've all had their moments, right? And they typically, more times or not, prove themselves, right? I say out of the 3, Wade is the one that has done it the least this year, in my opinion, just compared to previous seasons. And the injury maybe had a part of that, right? I think he might be the odd man out. But I think Rubio obviously is going to be there to run that second unit. You need Levert because you need somebody that's going to provide a scoring punch. And by the way, since the trade deadline happened, Levert has played pretty well. He's done a better job, more consistent job of providing that scoring punch. You definitely need that. And then, Osman, does he go with Osman? Does he go with Stevens? Does he go with both? And then if he goes
Osman's
with
been
both,
playing really well. Like
he has been. He has been.
Yeah.
So, I feel like Dean Wade might be that odd man out as a result. But maybe there's a scenario, maybe there's a matchup where he's forced to bring somebody in. I'll stick to what I said an episode or two back. I don't see a problem playing 10 or 11. Why just keep throwing fresh bodies out there? Why run 8 guys to the ground? That, to me, that just doesn't make sense, especially in today's game. It's just run and gun. You're just constantly moving. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I think we've easily got a solid top 9, right?
Yeah,
our 5 starters plus Osman, Levert, Rubio. Who else do you want to include in there? Wade. I guess you gotta have at least one big man, right?
Yeah. And this is where I do wish Kevin Love was still around, because that 9th guy, we said Wade, I don't know what I'm going to get out of him. You know what I mean? Like I would have felt more confident with Love, as part of that second 5. But here we are, and Wade has proven he is capable. He just he hasn't done it consistently this year like he has in years past, I guess I would say. So we'll see. It'll be exciting though. I'm sure by, we'll probably get that playoff schedule here soon. And I'm thinking, the last game for the Cavs, at least, is on Easter Sunday, believe it or not, at 1:00 in Cleveland, against the Charlotte Hornets. So I'm willing to bet, Alex, that the first round of the playoffs, the NBA is going to want to kick that off probably by the following weekend, I would think. Friday, Saturday. Maybe it's a Saturday, Sunday kickoff kind of deal. So the Cavs will have, roughly 4 or 5 days off, and then they'll be playing game 1 probably on Saturday or Sunday the following weekend.
Yeah.
So good stuff, man. The Cavs, man, end of the third quarter. It's a 2-point game. So we're keeping our eye on that. The Cavs got to make sure they pull off this win against the Indiana Pacers. There's no Miles Turner tonight. And they're missing what's the young guy's name? Halliburton? How do you say his name? Halliburton? Whatever. He's not playing in this game either. So kind of like that Knicks game, right, where they're missing a couple key players. It's you don't want to lose to the Pacers, because then people will really start flipping out.
Right.
You lose to this team who's not even in any kind of playoff contention, basically. Maybe a play-in game, if that.
Mm-hmm.
So what else you want to get into? I know there's been a lot of games. I don't want to go too far back, but the Cavs lost against the Hawks prior to the Knicks. That was a close game. Mitchell dropped 44. Garland had 27, but I don't know how deep you want to go there. What kind of bothered me about that game, I don't know if you saw it, Alex, but DeJounte Murray made a critical shot towards the end of the game that felt like an offensive foul.
Yes.
I forget who was guarding him. He kind of shoved into him, created that space, and then made a tough, fadeaway as a
I
result.
hate that. I hate
Yeah,
it when an offensive player
can initiate the contact like that.
creates the contact and
Yes.
gets the foul.
Yes.
That makes zero sense to me.
Yeah.
No sense. It's like what?
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I hate that.
yeah, it's frustrating. That
Yeah,
was a frustrating loss because the Cavs were right there. That was on the road, and would have been a nice win. The Hawks are a 500 ball club this year, but they're fighting for their lives. To try. I don't even know where they're at in the standings, but they'll be in a play-in game most likely, and they end up getting the win against the Cavs. Um, Last Sunday, I was going to ask you about this. So we played the Rockets, and Rockets are horrible, right? I think they're one of the worst teams in the NBA record wise.
sure.
And this was the game that the Cavs won or had to win to clinch the playoff berth. Okay,
Yeah,
and this was at home. There was never a doubt. I don't know if you remember this game or got to watch this game, but we got to see Kevin Porter Jr.
yeah, yeah. He's
not
a
do a whole
starter for
lot.
them. He played quite a few minutes.
Played
Yeah,
37 minutes, and you got not a whole lot out of Kevin Porter Jr. there. 6 points, a couple rebounds, couple assists. This team's so
negative
young.
19 on the plus minus. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like to see that.
he did not he did not look good at all. I'm looking at this roster and like I know Kevin Porter Jr. I know Frank Kaminsky,
Yeah,
a lottery pick a couple years back. I know Jalen Green because he was in the same draft of Mobley, but not many guys after that. So they're super
Corey.
young.
There's a lot of juniors on this team. Can we
There's a
just call
lot of
them the
juniors.
juniors? You got
The
Smith
juniors, yeah,
Jr.,
man.
Martin Jr., Porter Jr.
Jeez. Yeah. Jalen Green was the only one that looked nice, though. Jalen Green looked nice out there, but that was about it. The
Yeah,
Cavs roll the Rockets. They had no trouble with this team.
the Rocket
Jared Allen had a
Juniors.
monster game, 24 points, 14 rebounds, just a beast.
Yeah.
And then I guess we're not going to go into it much, but I wanted to bring up the pair of Nets games real quick. So Alex, these were the back-to-back Nets games where they were in Brooklyn. And at this point, Brooklyn was still, in the thick of things. They're trying to win some games. They're trying to move up the standings and stuff like that. And the Cavs ended up winning both games. And what I remember from those games is Brooklyn gave you everything they had. Okay, even though they don't have much. And the Cavs were able to pull off two playoff atmosphere type wins on the road, right? Which I thought was big for the team because, again, helter skelter, we don't get consistency on the road. A team that is fighting for their lives and played the Cavs pretty well, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of it, the one game with the Okoro winner, the game-winning three-pointer
Yeah,
from the
that
corner.
was amazing.
Oh my God, that last 35-second, even just the last minute of the game, just this, all the plays that happened, the turnovers by the Nets, the steal by who was it, Garland and to Levert, and Levert to the corner to Okoro after Mitchell misses a three, whatever he did, and
Yeah,
just
you could. I don't know if you were
man,
watching Mitchell in that game.
yes,
Reading his lips and watching his body language. He did not want that game to go into overtime, and he was going to
yes,
do everything that he could, win or lose. That game was not going to go into overtime. That's why he shot that three. That's why he took that second free throw and missed it on purpose to try to get the rebound and toss it back up, because he didn't care about tying the game. He wasn't about to tie that game. He was
yeah,
going to go for the win or the loss. So that
and
was pretty
again,
amazing. He had two chances to get that ball back up in the hoop after missing that free throw, and couldn't get it to go either time. Ended up on the floor after the second attempt, and then the ball was fair game, and luckily it ended up in the hands of Okoro in the corner. Boy, what a big shot.
Of all players, that's not the guy you would have want taking that shot, but man, give credit to Okoro. I mean, just remember, trade deadline, everybody wanted him gone. They're like, just go get a first round pick for him and whatever you can get.
Yeah.
right? And he's played well since then. And every time, not every time, but like I've heard it enough this year to where it sticks in my mind where the broadcast team is talking about how hard Akuro has been working on his shots. I would hear something like he gets up 1,000 shots a day or something like that, which could be very easily true, but it feels like he has put in work. And man, of all people, to hit that shot in the corner, that was just huge. His reaction afterwards was awesome. Just the team going crazy after that.
Yeah,
And just,
he did the Naruto run down the court
yeah,
after hitting
yeah.
the shot, and then
I,
the post game interview, man, he got emotional. It was good stuff.
man, thinking about the Brooklyn Nets, that fan base, I wonder how much they hate Cleveland. And hear me out. Here's the reason why. Okay. So the Cavs were part of the trade. Remember when Colin Sexton was drafted? I forget who the Cavs traded to the Nets to get that pick, but that pick ended up being Colin Sexton. Okay. Whoever the Nets got in that deal is probably no longer there, was part of the James Harden deal, whatever. They're no longer there, right? We got a couple years of Colin Sexton at least, right? That could have been a piece for them. Then a couple years later, we steal Jared Allen and Karis LeVert from them, right?
Right.
Then Colin Sexton, let's go back to Colin Sexton. Remember when Kevin Durant was there and James Harden and Colin Sexton went off and the Cavs beat them in back-to-back games? Remember he dropped like 40, 44 or something like that? He went off the one game. Single-handedly beat the Nets, right? And then fast forward to this season, the Cavs come to your place, back-to-back games, win both those games, and to have that one of those games be on a buzzer beater like that where you thought you had that game won. I just wonder, do the Nets kind of just hate Cleveland when you think about that timeline of events that has happened over the last several years?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't really know how
They
other
don't think
fan
about
bases think
little
about
old
us.
Cleveland.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't
I
know
don't
if we
know. We just
register
kind of
on
been a
their.
thorn. We just feels like we've been a thorn in their side for several years now because
We did take
they
their
had
players
Jared
and
Allen
start
right now.
winning. Yeah.
Yeah. They could have had Karis LeVert right now. Like they could have drafted Colin Sexton. So they still got Joe Harris, but I'll take what we got over here over Joe
Right.
Harris.
Although Joe Harris would be nice to have right now. He's a solid
He would be.
3-point shooter.
Yeah.
Of course, we
That's
got Danny
funny.
Green for that purpose, but never use him. Not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, I don't know either. So yeah, that's what's been going on as far as games. The Cavs, last time we talked, Alex, I remember we were talking about how the Cavs, after the All-Star break, they can't come out flat. They came out flat. They dropped the first two games or whatever it was, and then they went on a win streak. And they've been playing pretty well. They've been winning ball games, doing what they needed to do to keep that separation up until this Hawks and Knicks game, basically. And now they're battling with the Indiana Pacers. They're going into the fourth quarter here, and I think it's a tied game. So we'll see what happens there. But there's other things going on in the NBA right now. Been seeing some new CBA announcements coming out. Have you been keeping an eye on that? And is anything jumping out at you from those announcements?
Yeah, so the big announcement that I saw was that they are going to eliminate restrictions, limiting a team to two designated supermax players, which would be a huge impact for the Cavs, who have Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland already on supermax deals.
Yes.
And with Evan Mobley approaching his rookie extension, that could also end up being a supermax. Like this is it's good for us. How three supermaxes on one team will affect us, and how we'll fall into the luxury tax.
Right.
Whether we'll fall into that second apron of the luxury tax, which further gives us penalties as far as what we'll be able to do with sending cash and deals or trading for first round picks. That's yet to be seen, but good news for us.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you on that one before you get to another one here. What was funny was Woj tweeted that out, and he specifically called out how this would impact a team like the Cavaliers because of that scenario you just said with Evan Mobley. And the Cavs still have to be strategic on how they're going to, if they go down that route, of giving Mobley that type of money, which they absolutely should. They got to be strategic on how they're going to build out the rest of this team, right? We love the Lamar Stevens and the the Chettys and the Dean Wades of the world, but you don't want to have a roster. You don't want to have 3 supermax guys and 9 or 10 other guys that are, those players. You want to still be able to have nice pieces here around them. So it will be interesting to see how that happens. And this actually makes me feel a little bit better. I've had conversations with some of my buddies and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know how they're going to keep Evan Mobley here with the money they've already have invested into some other players. And he's going to demand that money. And now this kind of opens up that window where it's like, okay, now this feels more realistic, that those 3 are going to be your big 3 for the foreseeable future because, the Cavs aren't going to let Mobley go at this point. And now this gives them that wiggle room they needed to make sure that happens.
Yeah. Well, we did lose Love, who was had a $30 million a year contract. So
yeah. So what's
we should
another
have a
one?
little space, right?
I'm not super knowledgeable on how all the cap space stuff works and where we're at. Are we at the luxury or below the luxury? How much over are we? What would it put us over if we signed Mobley? Like, I don't know. I've never been good at math, so for me to do all of my head is not a good thing. But what's another thing that jumped out to you from the CBA announcements? I got one if you don't.
Oh, go ahead, because that was really the big one that I can think of.
I don't know. The one I thought you were going to start off with was the fact that NBA players will no longer be tested for marijuana. Like all of a sudden, J.R. Smith trying to get back in the league. Like what? Like what? I thought that was pretty interesting. One to call out. Another one, though, in all seriousness, was, and we heard this to be rumored for a while, but it does sound like they're going to have those in-season tournaments, right? Kind of in the middle of the season, where I think every team would be able to participate in an in-season tournament. And I saw today that the winners of that tournament, each player on the roster would get $500,000 if they win the tournament. So there's your motivation from a player standpoint. Okay. But what I still have a hard time wrapping around in my head is what's the motivation from a fan perspective to watch that? Does it get you an extra draft pick? Does it get you certain seeding in playoffs, or like what does that get you from a fan base perspective though? Right. Is where I struggle with this. Like, why do I care if the Cavs win an in-season tournament? What's the benefit of that? So maybe more details will come out. Like, this stuff has literally been dropping over this weekend. We're recording on a Sunday night, so I think yesterday I started seeing stuff and then some more today. But it does sound like they are proceeding with that, Alex. I saw, too, that, like, the championship game would be played on a neutral territory. Like, where would that be at? You know what I mean? So it's interesting. It's something different. We'll see if it gets any legs behind it. But $500K, man, there's your motivation.
Wait, can you repeat that last bit? So the championship, the finals?
Like the finals of that tournament, whoever the 2 teams are
tournament, right?
Of that tournament, that championship game would be played on neutral territory, whatever that means. So, like, if it's Cleveland and the Warriors, it's not going to be in Cleveland or where the Warriors play. It's going to be like in Las Vegas or something stupid like that. I can see them doing it in Vegas, to be honest with you. The other thing I don't know, and this is where I mean more details need to come out, or I need to go look up some articles if I already did, but is this like an East versus West tournament, or is like everybody in there and it could be the Cavs versus the Bucks in the finals, 2 East teams? I don't know. That would add some kind of interesting things to it if it was just, you can't have the same thing as a playoff run in an in-season tournament. Try to switch it up a little bit if you're going to do something like this. Be like, oh, okay, that's a different take on it. Maybe I want to check this out. You know what I mean? Just give something for the fans to have some reason to watch this. And that's where I'm struggling, because I haven't seen that it factor from our perspective, at least.
Gotcha.
So we'll see. The last big one that I saw was also NBA players will now be able to invest in NBA and in WNBA franchises, and also be able to be associated with like gambling, uh, like companies.
Like
Like I don't know if that
advertise,
means,
right? Like,
yeah, like I think like advertisements
yeah,
and things like
they
that,
can't place
and
bets
they
on
can't
their
place
own
bets, but
teams or anything. Yeah.
like Evan Mobley could do a commercial for FanDuel if he wants. You know, give me. I'm tired of this Window Nation stuff. We want him on FanDuel. You know, you know what I mean? Alex,
Oh
bet
man,
here. You
those
know?
Windows commercials are cringy, man. Have you watched
Yeah.
those? Oh
Oh
boy,
yeah.
it's
Oh
like
yeah. The
he's just like
bobblehead
reading
ones
off
and
the
just
teleprompter. Yeah.
yeah. Jared Allen would have been a better. Jared Allen's a little bit more personable, right? He's got a little more charisma to him.
Yeah.
Love Mobley, and I get why you chose him.
Mobley's a little stiff. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little stiff though. He's a little stiff. But yeah, I mean, so I guess if you're an NBA player and you want to invest somehow in one of the NBA teams, I don't know to what level, but apparently you can do that now. So just, we have these collective bargaining agreements every so many years. I think this one will go for 7 years once it's finally approved. And these are different things than what you're usually used to hearing. You know what I mean? That kind of just jumped out to me, at least some interesting things. It just tells you, man, the times are changing. Times are changing.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've been keeping an eye on this Cavs Indiana game. Um, it's a dogfight right now. I think it's a 2-point game. It's at a commercial right now. Last I saw was 97-95. Let me refresh the score here. Actually,
What you got?
well, according to Google, it's 99-93 with 6.5 minutes left. So
Cavs
that's a
up,
good
right?
sign. The Cavs are up, so they hopefully breaking the game open a little bit here. Again, it's crucial that they win this game. You're at home. The Pacers are not a good team. You lost to the Knicks, you lost to the Hawks. Don't make it 3 in a row. And if I look real quick, I want to see if the Knicks played. Because I thought I heard today that they played against the Wizards and won.
I hope not. We need those Knicks to lose.
I know. Yeah. See, the Knicks beat the Wizards today. The Wizards are, they're done for the year. I heard they
Right.
rested a couple players. So,
Yeah.
you
I like
know,
coasting.
they're 2.5 games behind you right now. The Cavs lose this game. They're only 2 games behind you with 3 games left, and all of a sudden, you just don't want to put yourself in that situation. So, Cavs, take care of business tonight. Get this win. Go to Orlando. Go show those young guys. Go get the win there. And then the last 2 games, you do whatever with.
Mm-hmm.
And you got that 4 seed locked up.
Nice.
So, Alex, I think the last thing maybe we touch base on, unless you got anything else, it came out a little bit ago, but we had another Road Back episode come out about 9 or 10 days ago now, so a little bit ago, and we bring these Road Back episodes up because we enjoy them. Love that the Cavs do this. I actually saw something. It sounds like the Browns are going to be doing some sort of like documentary series, and this is probably something that, to be honest with you, it's probably like the Chains. Probably other teams are doing this as well, and sports teams and things like that. So it makes sense. But the Cavs have been doing this for a little while, and we love these, and we watch them, every time they come out, and we usually talk about them here. So, was there anything that jumped out to you from that episode?
It was a good episode. It kind of followed the Cavs behind the scenes through a few different games. They interviewed a number of players. Lamar Stevens was one of them, and it showed him getting the dog chain after a
Yeah,
game, and kind of
the
went
Boston
into
game,
how
those
yeah,
the 2 big Boston games where the Cavs
yeah,
won the second one. They came back. And real quick on that one, I know this is way back now. This is like beginning of March, those 2 games where the Cavs lost the first one in Boston. Cavs win the second one in OT in Cleveland. And that's the game. I forget his first name, but his last name is Pritchard. That's where he had a chance. He had 2 free throws at the end of the game. He hits either one of those, the game's over. And he's talking shit to Mitchell. Mitchell must have said something first. And Pritchard goes, I'm going to hit both of them. And he missed both of them. And it reminded me of when that happened with Gilbert Arenas. I don't know if you remember the playoff series. The Cavs used to always play the Wizards,
yeah.
back in the day with Arenas and Larry Hughes and stuff like that. And LeBron said, you missed these and you're going home. And Arenas just kind of shook his head, and he missed both of them, man. He missed both of them. So
Caved to the pressure.
don't talk, man. Don't take the pressure, right?
Yeah.
But go on.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and so they also interviewed Okoro was another player they talked to a bit, and they talked a little bit about how Okoro always strikes that like crouched down pose that he does, and all
He
of
does,
the
man.
pictures they take with the dog chain. That was really
I
funny.
keep waiting to hear that like he's putting out a rap album because he's got the pose down already. You know, you know what I mean? He does the same pose every time, but that's great consistency, man. Love it. What'd you think about the Cavs singing abilities when they sung "Happy Birthday" to
Oh
Austin
man.
Carr?
Yeah. They sung Happy Birthday to Austin Carr, and then they went into like a second verse that was
Second verse was a little bit more hype. They were a little flat that first verse,
yeah.
but they took it up a notch a little bit.
It was fun. It was funny. It's good to see all those moments behind the scenes and in the locker
Exactly.
room, and
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff that you want to see when the Cavs are doing a little, this type of show, this type of media for the fans. So
Right.
if you haven't seen any of these road backs, you got to check them out. It's good stuff.
I like too when AC they go in to like do their final little, team hurrah thing before they break or end their practice or whatever. And AC goes, "What do we say?" And Bickerstaff says team or team on three or something like that. And he said, "No, kick ass."
Kick ass.
So they
Yeah.
all said kick ass instead of team or whatever they usually say. So I thought that was pretty good too.
Yeah, that was
And
good.
it's always good seeing AC, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a good episode, though. They did a lot of recaps on games and things like that. It was a longer episode, 23 minutes. So it was good. It came out about 9 days ago, so I'm willing to bet, the season, end of the season's next weekend, basically. So we'll probably be due for another one here, maybe even this coming week, hopefully, before we go into the playoffs. And yeah, it's on their YouTube channel. You can watch them for free. And I definitely recommend them and go check them out.
Yeah, definitely.
So what's going on, man? What's going on with this game? I'm looking at it.
Oh, we're still up as
We're
far
up
as I can
100 to
tell.
95,
Yeah.
4.5 minutes left. That's like another half hour, Alex. I don't think we can go that much longer.
No. I was looking at the the Cavs payroll here, looking at salaries. So we did shave off Kevin Love's $29 million. Karis LeVert is an expiring $19 million.
He's up there. I was going to say.
So that's already about $50 million coming off the books. And then we're talking about Mobley. He's making $8 million this season, $9 million next season, $11 million the season after that. So you would factor that into the super max extension, I would assume.
Yeah.
So I mean, we got some
Allen's making
some wiggle
20
room there.
He's got Allen's got 20 million a year, and he's locked up
Yep.
for at least another 3 years, right? After this season, he got that deal last year, I think.
Yep.
And it was a 5-year, 4-year. I don't remember now. I think it was
a 5-year, $100 million
deal. And then after that, everybody else is like single digits, right? Like Rubio's on a cheap deal. Wade, Osman, Osman might be making 6 mil, 7 mil, something like that.
Yep.
Wade and Stevens aren't making anything. Lopez is here on a 1 year. Neto's here on a vet minimum. You know what I mean? So like your payroll kind of drops off after your Leverts and your Osmonds, I guess.
Yep. Rubio's 6 mil. Okoro's 9
What's
mil.
Okoro
9
at?
mil. He's making $7 million this year and $9 million next year.
What would you do with him? What would you do with him if his contract was up, say this summer? I think that'll be interesting.
Next year we'll have to extend him.
Yeah, which I think the Cavs will do that. But what would you say? Like, obviously, you can't give him the same type of money that you're going to be given those 3 that we talked about. You're not even probably going to give him. You're not going to give him that Allen money either. What would you give somebody like Okoro based off of what you've seen so far?
I don't see his value being exceptionally high from other teams. Like he's not like an offensive weapon, right? He's kind of a very much defensive player, trying to make himself a 3-and-D player. So I think he's most valuable to us. He's more valuable to us than he would be with anyone else. So therefore, his market value, we should be able to retain him at a lesser amount. You
I'm
know
still trying to figure
what
out what
that
that
number
amount
is.
is.
I don't know, but
Yeah, I don't know either. That's what I'm worried about. I don't know.
I'm trying to look
That'll
at
be
some other
interesting.
salaries here. Maybe somebody else that's in similar shoes as him. But it's tough.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully, it's not one of those things where, uh, the Cavs end up having to lose him, due to free agency or something like that. I think the Cavs are savvy enough to not put themselves in that kind of scenario.
I
But
think the
it'll be
bigger
interesting to see what happens with
yeah,
him.
I think the bigger question is Levert. He's an expiring 19 million.
Yeah,
What do we do with him? Are we going to be able to
to be
keep
honest
him?
with you, I don't see him coming back, and the reason why is because some other team out there will see enough value in him to give him 15 mil a year for 3-4 years, whatever it is. And I think the Cavs aren't going to want to commit that kind of money to him when they know they got Mobley coming down the pipeline. Okuro isn't far after. Okuro will actually be before Mobley, right? Because I think Okuro. When did Okuro come out? Mobley came out after Okuro, right? So Okuro is going to be up first, then Mobley. You
Right.
know what I mean? So it's like, do you invest 20 million in Levert, or do you worry more about the Okuros and Mobleys? It's just their money's going to go there,
Would
right?
you rather retain a Coro over Levert? Because Levert's been
And
pretty solid.
this is giving me
Okoro is kind of
that's a you know what it remember shoot it or pass it, Alex.
yeah, yeah. We
Oh
did try
man,
that
shoot
for a
it.
little while, didn't we?
This is a perfect shoot it or pass it question. You shoot it meaning you're taking a Kuro, or you're passing it meaning you're going with Levert.
Ooh,
I'm going to go with the Kuro. I'm going to go with the Kuro because here's why. Kuro, I still don't know what his ceiling is. I think he could still go higher. He gives you defense, which Levert doesn't give. Levert shows flashes of it, and Levert's a better scorer. But Okuro, I feel long term can better fit in with this roster than Levert. Like, we already had Levert in the starting lineup that didn't work. He actually said like I need to go to the bench. Like, you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
I would go with Okuro if I was pinned up between the two, but it's tough. It's very, very close. I like both of them, to be honest with you. I like Levert, but who
I
would
like
you go
Levert
with?
a lot too. I might actually choose Levert because he can also facilitate. Because he's a great passer. He's got court vision. That's something that Okoro doesn't really do. He can also
Yeah,
be your primary ball handler, which Okoro doesn't do. I think he
a
just
lot of
has.
fans right now are saying no, 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 no.
Yeah. I know it. But yeah, I mean, I'm
Levert can
watching
go
this
out and get
Pacers
you.
game right now, and Levert's bringing the ball
It's
up the court. Cavs are
yeah,
up
it's
by
game.
12.
It's game now. Yeah, Mitchell just hit a 3-pointer. The crowd went nuts.
Yep.
Prior to that, Dean Wade threw an alley oop to Evan Mobley. This game's done. It's
It's a
10 point.
minute and 20 seconds left.
Oh, I'm behind then. Yeah, so this game's done.
Okay.
But yeah, Levert is capable of getting you a bucket too. He can score, and he is a good
Yeah,
passer,
he can hit the
and
three.
his defensive effort has gotten better. It feels as of late. Like I said, post trade deadline, he's been playing better, and I think it's because he knows now he's going to be here. He's
He's,
about to help a team go on a playoff run.
yeah,
Like, you know
he's
what I
fitting
mean?
in more.
So
He's
yeah,
finding his fit,
yeah,
and he's a hustle guy. He's got lots of energy. He'll dive for the ball.
yep,
He gets a couple steals. Yeah, I mean, he gets his hands up. He's pretty solid on defense. He might not be Okoro solid on defense, not quite as pesky, but I
yeah.
don't know. I just think he's more versatile. Yes, he is a bit older. He's 28 years old, 6 years older than Okoro. But
That's crazy. That's
yeah,
crazy. Yeah, that Kuro's only 22. Man, this team's so young. Love it.
yep.
Love it.
Many
Yeah, but this
many
game,
years of success.
many years of this team should be in contention. This team's going to be fun to watch for the next decade. They really should be. Um,
We got Mobley
yeah, this
up for
game.
Defensive Player of the Year, possibly.
Yeah, I didn't know if I wanted to bring that up or not. I don't have like the stats of like who the other top guys are that he's competing against. I think he deserves to be in consideration. I just unfortunately don't think there's enough respect on his game yet for him to get it.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this: I did see that, like, who is it, Brooke Lopez, right? Because we have the other Lopez, so it's definitely not ours. That, like, Brooke Lopez is up there for like a candidate, and I'm like, really? Like,
Really?
isn't he? I just never pictured him as like a mobile big, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of surprised to see him. Jaren Jackson Jr.,
Yep.
Bam out in Miami. Okay, I can get with those names.
They
Evan Mobley deserves to be in that conversation. I just don't know if he's going to get it.
they put an infographic up towards the beginning of this game
I saw
with
that.
the
I meant to take like a
stats and
screen. I should have taken like a screenshot of it
yeah, I
or
should have
something.
too. I didn't think of it, but Mobley was
He
first
had those
in
two
this
beat.
and first in that and sixth in this, and I mean he was his stat wise like he was blowing everybody away defensively.
The one that stood out to me the most was the minutes. Obviously, the minutes played, but he was young. He's younger than both the other players that were put up there. But also the number of contested threes. He like blew the other two out of the water. I know one of them was Brooke Lopez. I forget who the second guy was. There's three of them up that they showed. It was Mobley, Lopez, and somebody else. But he blew them out of the water on contested threes, minutes played, a couple of the categories there. So we'll see what happens. That'd be pretty awesome. Mitchell was advocating for him, right? He made comments the other day saying, "Hey, I've already played with a couple defensive player, of the year winners. He played with Gobert and
Yeah,
whoever else." And
Gobert won
he's
it
like,
3 years.
"Was it 3 years? I don't
Yeah,
know. At least two. I know that." So he was backing him up. He's like, "I've seen what a defensive player of the year looks like, and Mobley is that this year." So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if he gets it. That'd be pretty cool.
yep. And you got Garland for teammate of the year.
Oh boy.
So he likes to share the ball. What can you say?
Is this game done? This game's over. It's
This game's
official.
over. It's yeah. There's
Because I got
5
30 seconds left.
seconds.
So
It's 5 seconds left on my screen. Cavs
all right.
115, Pacers 105. Cavs have the ball. Looks like they're going to hold it. Yep, that's game.
Who's
So
getting the dog chain? That's what I want to know. The junkyard chain.
yeah, I don't know who it'll be, but one more win and we have home court advantage. So
Yep.
that'll
Take
be
care of
nice.
business in Orlando. Just get it done that first game and just be done with it. So those last two games, maybe we can see some Sam Merrill and get ready for the playoffs, man. I'm looking forward to it. But let's go ahead and wrap up this episode of the Cavs Pick and Roll podcast. Want to thank you, Cavs fans, as always, for tuning in and listening. And Alex, you want to let them know where they can follow us and connect with us?
Follow us on Twitter at Cavs Pick and Roll. Check out our Facebook page, Cavs Pick and Roll Podcast. Shoot us an email, cavspickandroll@gmail.com. Check out our Instagram. Watch us on YouTube, Cavs Pick and Roll Podcast.
That's right. All right, Cavs fans, there it is. We will be talking to you again soon.
Peace out, Cavs fans.